just come in to the room where you are. Come into your day and the reflection of your day. Be with that you, that littlest you inside, and the one that was out there doing business in the world, and the one that was interacting with other people. See where you're at in the room. Part of healing from the kinds of trauma that happen even before we have language is to learn how to orient ourselves in the room and in the moment and in the feelings in our bodies and in the parts of our body we experience as interfacing with the quote outside. Feel your skin, feel the air touching it. Feel your feet on the floor and your seat in the chair. Let yourself be breathed as you come inside. Let there be no separation from the inside and outside. Go into the part of you that is spirit, that is feeling, that is not defined by your body, and let it float beyond the boundaries of your skin. And notice the parts inside that might be tense or scared or excited or giddy or overflowing with love or concerned. Just be there with all of them. See if you can find a time in your life. You could be in a relationship you have right now. It can be in childhood. It could be in a former marriage or a conversation with a grown child or a text or an email from a boss. Where you just hated the way someone was seeing you or treating you. You felt so misunderstood, so wrongly accused. You just needed them to see you or treat you differently. You need them to change their mind about you. You're not going to be okay until they do. You don't see another way out. And that's what this is about. It's about how isolated you feel when you're defensive, when you feel you need them to change. What happens to your insides, and a whole new look at how you can use that to recreate connection and wholeness and learning and growth and compassion and healing. One of the most painful things, you can either read along or just listen. One of the most painful things we experience as humans is when someone important to us misunderstands or misinterprets our actions, accuses us of actions or motives that feel completely out of character with who we are trying to be in the world. Or they use these perceptions as a reason to ostracize, retaliate, or punish us in ways that feel completely unfair to us. Find a situation or even just a collection of situations where you know you have felt that. We can feel instant shock, disappointment, or anger at the idea that someone we love or depend on sees us this way. We can descend into intense reactivity. Sometimes even a sudden surge of rage seems to come out of nowhere. Or we can crumble into a little pile in the corner, completely deflated. We may attack them back, close our hearts, feel that we are completely wrong and bad, or feel desperate to convince them otherwise. Survival-driven reactions that tell us the other person is the enemy and that their perceptions or treatment of us are a grave threat. Over time, a sense of despair, hopelessness, or even depression can emerge when they don't seem to be changing their minds about us, despite our best efforts to convince them or to prove them wrong by being really good. A hallmark of situations like this, which can often happen within marriage, family, work, or parenting, is the internal or actual conversation that we know as an intense need to defend, explain, or justify our actions or decisions. In short, we feel driven to prove to our attackers how wrong they are about us. The things we want to say in defense of ourselves and our actions, the tenacity with which our brains plot and plan to turn around the offender's perceptions of us, or shame them for causing us so much pain, are often hopelessly ineffective strategies at best and serious debilitating mental obsessions at worst. And yet the good news is that the emotional state we experience as defensiveness can be flipped into an incredible opportunity to heal these primal, visceral reactions that neither serve us nor resolve our painful situation. It turns out that we can use these situations very productively and often very quickly. Now that we understand what to do with defensiveness, it is possible to view each painful reaction as a direct path to the kind of unshakable inner peace that does not depend on how others see us. In fact, it turns out that defensiveness is a gold mine. With this new mindset, its presence no longer signals a hopeless downward spiral, but a hopeful invitation to heal our relationship to ourselves and others. The defensiveness dialogue becomes a kind of reliable guide out of our codependent quagmire. It serves to help us patiently and compassionately untangle the deeply entangled mindsets we acquire at moments along the way, when we came to believe that our survival really did depend on others affirming that we were being who we needed to be to earn their love, attention, and care. Through the simple awarenesses introduced in this book, we come to finally see others and their own struggles more clearly. Suddenly we move into being the one who is big enough and secure enough to reestablish warm connections and creative win-win solutions whether the other person changes their minds about us or not. The radical new strategies and simple steps presented here offer a way to use the counterattacks we plot and plan to harvest all the things we so desperately want to say to others in our attempt to free ourselves from the suffering and stuckness. Incredible freedom can emerge from the pain of our intense need to get others to see us the way we want to be seen. Over time, we will rarely react at all, except with curiosity, compassion, and gratitude, shifting almost instantly into letting our reactions to others' words and actions be our own kind teachers. To summarize, defensiveness can become our spot-on cue for a mindset shift. It can be an efficient red flag to bring us to see ourselves, the other, and our respective struggles more clearly and compassionately. The outcome of the process I'm about to introduce restores greater connection and happiness. It spawns creative, effective solutions to getting what we feel we want or need, and often does the same for others, whether or not they have changed their minds about us. It's my path to discovering the defensiveness dialogue. In one of the most painful compulsions to defend I have ever experienced, I came to see that the minute I shift into even a glimmer of trying to convince you of my innocence, my rightness, or your wrongness in seeing me the way you do, I experience a horrible kick in the stomach feeling. It feels like my body telling me I have already lost the battle by making it into a me against them battle. Suddenly, in that moment, I saw that I tear myself apart the moment I tell the most innocent parts of me. The only way I will be okay is when others change and see me the way I want to be seen. From that mindset, my pain emerges. The littlest parts of me feel both threatened and hopeless, and they know they are not in charge of how others see me. In other words, as one of my own great teachers would say, defense is the first act of war. I saw that when I shifted from my own business into the business of how you see me, pain. When I shifted back into the business of how I see myself and how I see you, relief. Nothing has changed. You may be believing what you believed all along, or may even have escalated in your story of me and the consequences you are doling out as a result. But the world is a different place because I have asked myself how I want my relationship with my dear you and my dear self to feel. I found that I can consciously access that feeling without requiring you to change your perception of me. In one of the greatest revolutions of my life, I also came to see and feel that the minute I release myself from the obsession that I can get another to behave differently toward me, if only I just say or do the just right thing to convince you that I'm okay, I have rescued myself from a pit of despair and hopeless striving. The physical sense of relief and freedom and restored wholeness is instant when I free myself completely from the heavy responsibility of changing your mind about me. So I want you to visualize this shift. It may help, if you want to visualize this shift, it may help to visualize your own persecutor. Get that person in front of you and ask yourself, talking to them, can I see you as you are and let that be okay for now? Can I hold? Could everyone mute yourselves? Can I hold a loving image of you over there, treating me the best you can, given what you are believing about me? Look at their face. See them saying that thing that you so don't want to hear. treating you the way you so don't want to be treated? Can I really understand that something tells you I am a threat to you or those you love? Can I even lovingly support you for your efforts to take care of the little one inside of you that feels I have done something bad and have the potential to hurt you? Suddenly I can see you over there in your innocence, and it's no longer personal. I can even see the loving motives behind your accusations. And now come back to yourself. Imagine yourself hurting so much, feeling so changed inside you the minute they said that thing or treated you that way or said that thing to someone else. Then move into being the curious, compassionate caretaker of these littlest parts of yourself that you abandoned years ago when you came to believe that your survival depended on how others saw you. Ask yourself, can I care about how painful it is for me to believe that my well-being and even my worth and my safety are dependent on your, meaning the other's, ability to open your heart to me and see me the way I want to be seen? Can I care enough that I am finally free to open my heart to you, seeing that it was never about you to start with? Can I notice that closing my own heart to myself and you was the actual moment of separation and not anything you said or did? Can I enjoy feeling how reopening it from over here restores the flood of love that I was so desperately missing, whether or not you change your tune? In most cases, I realize I can see you over there, and it's okay. I can even see the well-meaning motives behind your accusations, reactions, and retaliations. And in that, everything changes. The minute I release myself from the obsession that I can get you to behave differently toward me if I say or do just the right thing, I have rescued myself from that pit of despair and hopeless striving. I feel the relief in my body almost instantly, just like I unplugged the cord that had plugged me in, had me plugged in. I can see you over there believing what you are believing, and it's okay. I can even have compassion for you, for how much it must hurt to be seeing me as the enemy. In the presence of a great teacher, can I find, even privately, if admitting it to others feels too scary, that what you're saying about me is true? Can I get curious if it is true? Can I find that I am doing the best I can and that thing I did is okay? That is, I can see it for what it is and learn something from it. And even if I can't find it, can I let it be okay that you are believing it for now? Can I use this reflection to detect a blind spot or even some hidden self-hatred? While it was the very best I could do in that moment, can I find where my reaction comes from being the one who has shame around her, showing up in a way that disappoints or repulses or hurts you, and maybe also disappoints and repulses me even more? Can I open myself to the idea that in stating it out loud, you are simply pushing a big red button on my chest that pulls the trigger of self-loathing and shame that was already shooting a gaping hole in my heart? Can I let it be that I was relying on others' perceptions of me to fill that hole by reflecting back to me that I am okay? Can I let it be okay that most of us are programmed to use others to prop up the perfect identity that our child minds decided long ago we needed to project to feel safe, loved, and cared for? Could it be that this is why we so desperately need to restore those perceptions in others' minds, because there is a survival-driven belief that going through these critical others is the only way to get our needs met? What is it about them seeing us that way that hurts so instantly and so much? When I was recently attacked over a text message in front of my entire family, including my daughter, the visceral response could not have been more overpowering than if someone had walked through the door with a gun pointed at me. What is that? How can another's perception of us be so overwhelmingly powerful? How can it create a fight or flight response even when nothing is actually happening except a thought in our heads? Well, it turns out that our own cup of self-criticism is so full that even another drop coming from them can trigger a cascade of fear that can turn to self-protective rage.